Hello, viewers. Welcome. It's September 2024, and we are here at the beautiful Hill House in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm here with the band Wayne Graham, and these are two brothers from the band. And would you introduce yourselves, please?
I'm Kenny Miles. I'm Hayden Miles.
All right. And Kenny, just to start with, what instrument do you play, and what's your main role in the band?
I'm one of the songwriters and singers in the band, and I play guitar for the most part. And I also sing and write songs, but I'm the drummer.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting. Obviously, both brothers, and for those viewers who don't know, they are from Whitesburg, Kentucky, and it's how far away from the Virginia border is that?
Not far at all.
Not
maybe
far, right?
10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So has that community and growing up there filtered into your songwriting? I'm sure it has. Can you talk a little bit about that?
You go for it. Yeah. I don't know if you know about the Apple Shop,
Mm-hmm.
but they had a community radio station there called WMMT, and as like with our family, lots of relatives on our dad's side played an instrument or a few instruments, and so they were always just laying around, and it seemed very possible to like learn one and join in. So I think Hayden and I both felt like we could pick one and try to get good enough at it to play with our uncles and dad or something, and then we would also play in church, and so I feel like there was not much polish involved, but it was like we felt like most instruments were approachable enough to try out and see how they felt to play. Do you have anything to add, Hayden?
Well, being a drummer, Hayden, did you see that acoustic guitar laying down and start playing? Can you talk a little bit about that same aspect?
Well, our dad is the eldest brother of a set of brothers, and Kenny's older than me. My dad always played guitar, and Kenny learned bass and then guitar, but his younger brother always played drums, so I feel like in my brain it was just sort of like, I guess I play drums, and so I got a set of drums for Christmas one year. I think I was 9, and just sort of started fooling around. I would watch my uncle play at church and try to emulate what he was doing, or just pay attention enough to see if I could figure out what was happening and try to apply it. Oh, there it goes. It's natural. But try to apply it on drums when I got home. And also growing up playing in church, you had basically multiple performances to do every week. So it sort of felt like, that was time to, I don't know, both of us learned our instruments that way, just playing with our dad in church and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty special to have that support, and then just having that opportunity at a young age to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking about the community and family, can you talk about the band's namesake?
Yeah, Wayne was our dad's dad, and Graham was our mom's dad. And we just, like, both of them died when, Hayden wasn't born when Wayne died. I was only 2, and Graham died when, I think Hayden was 5, yeah, I was 10. And they just loomed very large. They were very different people, but both of them very soft-spoken and humble, but like Wayne was more of a musician. He bought a lot of gear from pawn shops and things like that. So he left behind a really cool collection of instruments. And Graham had some property. They were both coal miners their whole lives, but Graham always raised a garden and enough food to like can it and share it with other people. when my mom was growing up and stuff. Our mom was the youngest of 10, and so it was just a really big family. We spent a lot of time with the grandparents, and it just seems like now, especially, they were just from a very different time in a remote place, you know.
Yes, the population there is what, just a few thousand?
Yeah, I think maybe Whitesburg is now like 2,500 or something like that.
Probably.
But yeah, and they were living in smaller communities outside of Whitesburg. But yeah, I'm really grateful for the perspective that gave us early on. It was just a cool thing to see growing up.
Well, the viewers, by the way, in September, they are starting their tour, which is going to last through the end of November, and they'll be going all the way to Germany and Europe. So it's a pretty special time. Their album is just dropping any moment now, right? Mm-hmm. And can you talk a little bit about the new album, Bastion?
Yeah, it's our 9th, and we've made them all at home by ourselves, and Hayden and I will bring other people in sometimes to play different parts, but for the most part, Hayden and I one of us brings a song in, and we see how far we can take it in one day, and then sort of let it become whatever it becomes over time. We'll keep coming back to it and maybe have an idea here, an idea there. And the same was true with Bastion. We just started in a bit of a different way, in that Hayden had some drum loops that we made and played what sounded like pretty straightforward songs over the drum loops, and tried to make it airy and natural and feel like it was a bunch of people playing in one room. But it was a nice challenge for us to take on as just like two people building it from the ground up.
So I would assume leads is a pretty open-ended aspect to it, because you're able to shape the clay of the songs, not have the pressure of a studio and time, which I'm sure you all have experienced before. So as far as the songwriting, lyrically, so it's pretty much equal. Somebody just brings a lyric idea. Can you talk a little bit, either of you, about the songwriting, the actual process itself? I mean, you touched upon it a little bit already, but a little more in depth.
Yeah, I feel like in the past maybe 10 years, I've tried to write more songs myself, and Kenny's carried most of the weight of the songwriting up until maybe like the last few records. I've started contributing a little bit more, and this one so far is the most songs that I had written, and it is pretty much split down the middle, the amount of songs we have, each of us had written on this album. But I don't know, it's sort of, we both have songwriters that we admire and that we try to take inspiration from, but in a lot of ways, I feel like, and I was just thinking about this the other day, if I'm writing a song, I really just want the approval of Kenny. Like, if I'm sending it to him, it's like, if he's like, that's good, then it's accomplished whatever it needed to accomplish. But I feel like there's a little bit of that, of like us motivating each other to try to write songs, and yeah, that was definitely the fuel for this last album.
So Kenny, if he, for instance, gives you some lyrics, I mean, are you like sensing the mood of the lyrics and coming up with the chords, or how is that happening?
No, usually Hayden sends me voice memos that are complete
melodies and everything.
Yeah, like
nice.
He's a wonderful piano player too. So, and he writes a lot of his songs on piano, and so I'll just hear this beautiful demo of my new favorite song, and it feels that way every time. Like, so yeah, I definitely want Hayden to like whatever I'm working on. That he's who I'm thinking about whenever I'm doing things too.
Plus, you got the loops, and then I didn't realize you played piano too. So that now it all makes sense. That wasn't in the bio. Well, cool. That's awesome. So this new album, um, I've heard some of it, and wow, it sounds incredible. There's a lot of different instruments that I'm hearing, and different time signatures. It has a very interesting openness to it, and lyrically, has it gone into some um, new directions for you? Like, for instance, oh, like um, social justice, anything like that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Do you want to go or me?
Why don't you take it, Hayden?
Okay. Um, Definitely, I feel like that's been a big part of the writing of the record. Um, in some songs, there's almost like an anger to it uh, that was just coming out naturally. I think I was just maybe upset at the time of the songs that I had written, but it's kind of funny. I feel like some of the songs I wrote are sort of mean and angry, and some of the ones that Kenny wrote are like very sort of like retrospective and like you're sort of examining yourself or something. But definitely some social justice stuff. There was a lot going on, like while we were writing the album, and also just sort of interactions I would have with my family uh, when it came to the subject of politics, and sort of a tension there, and that motivated a lot of like the feeling of the songs I had written, and there was also like an intentional openness and looseness to a lot of it. Like I think a lot of times when you're writing music and recording music, it's like, what should I do? Like, what am I supposed to do here? And a lot of times it was more felt like this is just what's happening. It's not like we're not trying to polish this to the point where it's really just perfect or anything. It's sort of just like this is how it's unfolding as we're going, and that was kind of the process a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something you wanted to add?
Well, no, just that I think I was inspired by Hayden's willingness to speak to things that we hadn't really addressed in song before. And I think, too, maybe the other side of that is saying, like, it could be much easier for all of us to endure whatever we're enduring if we try to like leave the harsh judgment of each other behind, and like that it's something we're all facing regardless. We're all in sort of the same boat, and I don't know. I think that's where the frustration comes for me. Is like, I mean, the more conservative family members of ours are also religious people or spiritual people, and I think that it seems like certain political ideas don't go hand in hand with that. So
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
It's a it's a rural thing, you know.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. And well, regarding the album, the new album, like I mentioned to you before the interview, I really thought it was cool the way you all had brought in different instruments, your overdubbing, and the mixing choices, which I've learned that it was all of you. Really good job.
Thank you.
But arrangements and arranging and molding the clay of the song and the song craft and getting it up there. You have a faraway third member, right? Who helps with that? Can you? What's his name? Where does he live? And the connection?
Yeah. Ludwig Bauer lives in Dresden, Germany, and he's a multi-instrumentalist there. We met around 2012 playing with a band from Germany that were doing 3 dates in the States, and we did a show with them in Louisville. And it turned out that the lead singer had a small record label in Dresden, and we were not releasing music with any label at the time. And they asked if we had a label in the works, and we were working on one. So in 2012 or in 2013, I guess. No, it was 2015. Or we met them in 2015, and in 2016 they released the record. And they released 4 more records for us. Everything until Bastion. Bastion was the first one that's had like distribution in the United States. But so like we would go every year, sometimes twice a year to Germany for a month.
Just the two of us.
Yeah.
We were two-piece at the time. And we had 2 friends over there that were in the other band as well. Johannes... What's Johannes?
Till.
Johannes, Till, and Ludwig. And one of the times we went over, they both joined us. Mm-hmm. So Johannes would play guitar, and Ludwig would play bass and piano.
Multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
So he would shape these songs that you all... So you all were file sharing well before, when it became normal during the pandemic for musicians to collaborate that way. I mean, it was done before, but obviously when that happened, all musicians were doing it that way.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that has its trials and tribulations as well, but it's... So you're getting ready, obviously, you're going to be playing in the Midwest and the Northeast, and then you're heading to Europe, and then you're coming back to end in Kentucky, is that right?
Yeah, our last show for the year will be at the Burl in Lexington. Yeah, with Otto and the Harvestmen and Bedford. And so that should be a good way to wrap things up.
And as far as your set lists, are they going to be mainly some of the new album as well as the last few, or are you going all the way back to 10 plus years?
We have some early songs, but probably nothing before 2015 or so. Yeah. We have a couple that we pull from the early stuff, but it's sort of hard to know which songs from the back catalog to learn to be able to play live. So we have a pretty big list that we can pull from at any given point. We're always adding to that slowly. So at one point we had like 85 songs that we could choose from to play live, and now I think with this lineup we're at around 40 or so. So we're always trying to add to it.
And your influences they have to be pretty varied, because like I was hearing all kinds of styles on your latest album. I mean, from some songs that have overdubs of psychedelic guitar to who are some of your your main influences?
Wilco is a big one for both of us.
Paul Simon and Bob Dylan, as far as songwriting goes, the Beatles, of course. And then like recent stuff, I really like King Gizzard a lot. I like the variety that they have as a band, and they go in a lot of different directions, and I just think that's a really cool thing to lean into if you can do it. So, and also just like being prolific, releasing as much material as possible. We'd like to always be making new things, so that's something good to shoot for us.
Who are the other musicians playing with you this evening, and are they going to continue on for the rest of the tour?
Yeah.
We have Josh Nolan on guitar and Jose Oretta on bass.
Yeah. So as far as anything about the both of you, your band, your music that I haven't touched upon that you'd want viewers who may be watching this to know about you all? No? I always end interviews that way, because sometimes, even though I can research everything, you never know.
Yeah.
So
we covered it all.
All right. Well, Hill House appreciates you all being here. Thank you.
We're very glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
We got